Hallelujah. 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 To the 12 tribes worldwide, to the Most High Yah. And we want to give honor to his son, Yahsara'al, Yeshua HaMashiach, who is our atonement lamb. We want to say Shabbat Shalom. Tribes scattered, dispersed but not destroyed, because we are a dispersed nation, but we have definitely not been destroyed. I want to welcome each and every one of you here in our presence and those online to our Shabbat Day service. We are still in the teaching, in whose image are we made. This should be part 5, I think. So we have really broke down 2 scriptures. We are trying to get all the meat off this bone. So, because we feel like that if you do not digest that which you learn, it cannot benefit you. It's almost like eating a piece of meat and then you don't swallow it, you just spit it out. You know, it does your body no good, you get a taste. And that's what we have gotten in all these years of us being in our captivity. We have actually gotten a taste of the scripture. And not many of us have swallowed, digest, and use the scripture to nourish us or to feed our thoughts about the Most High. Think about it. Think back to your earliest thoughts of when you were in any other walk, like Christianity or stuff like that. Think about what you thought the Most High was. Think about what you thought his son was. And now compare it to this day. Once you started going into the book for yourself, I'm in this firm mode that we need to take the scriptures back. We need to take this book back. We need to take this book back from our captors. We need to take this book back from everybody that tried to teach us about ourselves in this book. You can't hide the identity of the Hebrew Israelite if you study this book for yourself. It will jump off the page at you. Yes. We always go back to Deuteronomy 28, but the fact of the matter is the blessings and the curses fit no other group of people. Right. That's right. No other group of people. Right. You can look at the Ashkenazim from the beginning to the end. And I'm not trying to down them, but Deuteronomy 28 does not fit the Ashkenazim. You can look at any other racial group on this planet. You can go into Zephaniah 10. The daughters of his dispersed across the rivers of Cush. That's right. I ain't seen nothing pasty come across the rivers of Cush. Right. Everything across the rivers of Cush. That's right. Melanated. Come on. It's a melanated people. Right. Like the sisters say, this melanin is popping. Right. It is the truth. Our melanin is, look, if you took the Ashkenazim right now and put them to work in Egypt, I guarantee you, after 10 years, the majority of them would have skin cancers. Whoa. To mention that, you mentioned that, do you know people don't realize that right now in Jerusalem, they have the second highest rate of cancer going on around the planet. Right. Melanomas. Melanoma. Because they are in a land that isn't theirs. Right. Their biggest beauty product sold in Yahsara'al is skin, is sunblock. That's right. We don't need sunblock. We got it blocked. I don't understand how you can understand the logic of how you can take something out of the dirt and it come out pasty. There ain't no pasty dirt. Right. It's got some color to it. It's got some nourishment to it. But we have allowed the people to talk about us and to put us down over all these years and have not found our true identity. And so for those who are waking up into this truth, this is for you. Hold on to what you believe. Hold on to this truth, because we are here to keep his law, statutes, and commandments. And when you look at the word keep in Hebrew, it means to defend them. And that means to stand and defend them, even if it costs your life. This thing is not going to be a joke in a few years. They are already pegging us. They're already labeling us as something that we're not. And the reason why is because those things in Revelations has to take place. There's going to be executions and torturing of the saints. And the saints ain't the church. It's those people who are coming into this truth and understand who they are. But these things have to take place so our Messiah can return. So if you ain't into it, look, this walk right here, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're not in it for the casket, you might want to go back over to Creflo's class. Because I'm telling you, these brothers that I have surrounding me these days, I know are in this until the wheels fall off, till 6 men carry them to the tomb, and until everybody's seen the upper room in that casket in the ground. Y'all may not be able to carry my casket. It's going to be big and it's going to be a little heavy. But I guarantee you I'm going to go in the truth. I've done too much not to rely on the truth of his word. And so like my shirt says, obey Yah's laws. That's what we got to do. Now, going into the subject matter today about being made in his image. We went over the word image, and this word is salim. We've been over this word. We've dissected it. So now I want to go this week to dissect the word likeness. This word likeness, or damut, is spelled dollar, mem, m. I'm gonna write this in the I'm gonna write it in modern. If y'all don't mind, I know there's a lot of brothers that be on the page. Modern is Yiddish. I don't even want to have that conversation.
So do you want to go ahead and read that?
Yeah, go ahead and read
26.
Yes, please.
Genesis or Bereshit, chapter 1, verse 26. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. You want me to keep going?
Yes.
So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth.
That's good. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right, so we're looking at the word. We're taking this from the context of we are made what? In the image and the likeness of the Most High Yah. Now, we've already broke down that after sin entered into the world, that man took on the likeness and the image of who? Right. And that came through taking on the likeness and the image of who? Adon. Adon was made after the image and the likeness of Yah until sin entered into him. And the image of Adon and not of Yah. Okay? Because there is no corruption in Yah. There is no imperfections in Yah. And there definitely is no sin in Yah. Now, I want you to understand this very clearly, because a lot of people get this out of context. Yah uses Tov, which is what? Good. And Yah uses Ra, which is what? Bad. Or what? Dysfunction. Okay, so Tov, good, and what? Function. And Ra, bad,
Dysfunction.
and dysfunction, to carry out his will. He made function and he allows dysfunction, because those things that are bad can work in our favor. You understand what I'm saying? If I got a promotion on my job, that's good for me, right?
Yes.
But to the other 12 candidates for that promotion, what is it? Ra. I don't know why they hired him, made him the boss. He don't even know nothing. Well, that's fine, I don't. But guess what? It was in God's hands. It's functional for me. It's good because I'm going to get every benefit that goes along with it. So when we think about the children of Israel, Yah allowed there to be several different nations. But he only chose one nation for himself, which was who? Yahsara'al. That is his people. So all the other nations, that's dysfunctional to them. They don't like it. That's why we as Yahsara'al have been put into captivity, have been put into slavery. And if you think you're free, we need to have another talk, because we still aren't free. We are still caught in borders that are not our own, and we don't have the resources to leave if we wanted to.
Hallelujah. Come on with it.
You see what I'm saying? Most people in this walk can't buy a cheeseburger without checking their pockets. You see what I'm saying? So we don't have the resources. And if we as a people got together and decided to move, we don't have the mindset, because we still have a Western mind.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we won't move together.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm a soldier. I keep telling everybody, I spent 6 good years of my life serving this country. Am I proud of that? Yes and no. But what I want to say is, there is a teaching or a mindset that we take on as we enter into a military life. They strip you of your old thought process during basic training and give you a new one. What do you think slavery was? It was a way to recondition the Hebrew mind.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
And so now those who were walking in the truth and the understanding of the Most High Yah was stripped from it and given what? New gods,
That's right.
New language.
new language, a language that is bastardized,
New culture.
a new culture,
New word.
a new.
Everything.
They have taken your book and misinterpreted it or reinterpreted it, and they have taught you now that keeping the instructions of the one who gave you life is a sin.
That's right. So the law is right, right?
Right. So the law, that which gets you in, look, my daddy was strict as heck, but keeping his instruction kept you out of trouble.
Yeah.
Now, when you did not keep his instruction, whew, it was hell to the captain.
Right.
It was like what they say, it was going to be smoke in the city. It was smoke in the city. If I did not do what my father told me to do. And do you think that Yah,
It's not the same.
the Most High, who took time out of his busy day to create you, doesn't have a standard that he wants you to keep? That's what Christianity teaches us, that there is no standard. So because of that, we are no longer in the likeness or the image of the Most High. Because you can't just do what you want to do and follow Yah. One thing about Yah that I love the most is that he is tied to his word.
That's right. That's
Which
right.
means he can't break his word.
Right. Can't.
So if he can't break his word, why would he allow you to break it?
Right. That's right. That's right.
That's one of the $1 million questions. Oh man, you can eat that pork chop sandwich. You know, the scripture says that we should not call anything that he made common. That didn't mean you can't. Okay, a pig ain't common, but he didn't give you instructions to eat that joker. You know, boil it, put a little bit of vinegar in it to cut it, and you won't have that high blood pressure. That's the logic that they have fed you as a people. So it has taken you out of his likeness. This word, okay, so we went over Salim. What does Salim mean? It means what? Being prescribed on a righteous path.
Yeah.
It is a righteous man set on the path of righteousness, or what we would say is the man who follows Torah. Okay. Now we're going into the moot. The moot is Dalit Mem Va Tav. We know that the first two letters, the Dalit and the Mem, spell the Hebrew word what? Dome. What does dome mean? Anybody? Okay.
Blood.
Thank you. So dome. Remember the word Adon. Dome means blood. Okay. Va. What does the Va mean? Does anybody know? What does the Va do in a word? Va is a picture of Va is what? A tent peg.
Yeah, secures it.
It secures or fastens or connects something. What does the letter Tav mean? Tav means a covenant, it means a mark, a destination, a covenant, or contract. So we break this word damut down to a blood connected covenant. Me and Brother Chauncey and Brother Rod basically have come up to the understanding that if you put the word damut into its real functional meaning, it really means, you may not be able to see this. Say it with me.
That's right.
That damut really ends up breaking down to a bloodline. How do we know this to be true? Because after man was expelled or taken out of the presence of Most High Yah, he then went into the process of building a bloodline to renew us.
That's right.
So let's start with our original father. Who is the original father of the Hebrews?
Abraham.
Who is the original father of the Hebrews?
For the Hebrews, the original father, Abraham, right?
Abram.
Eber.
Y'all got me messed up now.
Eber.
Where do we get the word Hebrew from?
Eber.
So Ibri or Ibrit is the name of our people. We are the Ibrit people. So Hebrews, all nations of Hebrews are Ibrit.
Yeah.
Okay, or Ibrit. I come to tell you, that don't sound nothing English to me. That sound African. Ibrit. So our father, our original father, who the name Hebrew came from, was Ibrit. Now, through his bloodline came our grandfather, the one who established what? A blood-connected covenant.
That's right.
What was his name? Abram. So Abram was the father of the Israelites. Now listen to me. Let me rephrase that. He was the grandfather of the promise. He was the father of the promise. Now through his line or his lineage, go find that in the scripture where it starts, because we want to go into Genesis.
Talking about when Yah established the covenant with Abraham.
Yes.
What are you looking for again?
Where he established the covenant.
with Abraham.
Oh, 12.
Okay, so we're going to read Genesis chapter 12.
Yeah.
Now, before we read it, I want to talk to you about this. So, if we we were made in his image and in his likeness, and he gave us dominion over. That word dominion is resh dalet. And that word radah or ra, it's resh dalet hay. Radah, raday, because it's kind of hard for me.
And which one it is?
Resh
What are we looking at again?
dalet. We're looking at the word dominion.
What dominion? Okay, that's...
I think it's radah. Radah.
Is that dominion?
Yeah, we need dominion.
West Dollar Hay.
Hmm?
West Dollar Hay.
Okay.
Yeah, resh
Yeah,
dalet.
yeah. Here you go ahead. It is Radah.
Yeah, radah.
Radah.
Okay, so this word radah, because I need to get y'all into this before we go into the covenant. Okay, so he established the covenant with us to make us, giving us dominion over the birds of the air, fish of the sea, every crawling thing that's on the earth. I want you to understand that this word dominion does not mean what you think it means. First of all, this word dominion does not mean rulership. It means to rule, but it does not mean to rule in the sense
That's
of one who sits on the throne.
That's right, that's right.
This word radah means for us to rule in the sense, so the two-letter root, let me go to the two-letter root. The two-letter root is resh dalet. What is it?
Hay. West Dollar Hay.
No, the two-letter root of that is resh dalet. And this means to actually, it means the word sheet, or, a sheet that is pulled out. And a sheet has four corners. So the sheet is a covering for something. So we are to have rulership in the sense that we are supposed to coexist with all those things that were mentioned. And we are to cover them, or to what? Protect them.
That's right.
Like a tent would protect the people underneath it. Okay? So have you ever noticed that of all the other cultures, they move in and out of nature in a certain way? They don't take too much, and then what they do take, they use completely. They don't take more than what they need. They take just enough to survive, and they try to give back to nature by planting, by doing all the things that they need to do to be in balance, because they are walking in their dominion. They are to govern it,
That's right.
but not to rule over it. We have taken it in the Western mindset to mean to rule over it. So we have basically destroyed the earth because we use way more than what we need. We are a nation of excess. And the Western mindset makes you believe in it wants you to pull off the excesses. So it wants you to live in this I need more attitude. How many of you have eaten food and have thrown away the majority of it? You just pile stuff up on your plate, eat a few bites, and throw it away. Well, that's not how we function. That's very dysfunctional to a Hebrew. To get something. Because remember, when we went through Passover the first time, what did he tell you to do? He told you to get a lamb and to prepare it. The blood he used to what? Paint the lentils. Then the fat he burnt up in the offering. And the meat was used to do what? It was eaten.
That's right.
And he said eat all of it before what? Sunrise?
Sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't waste anything. He's not an Elohim of waste. You are not a waste to him. That's why he does not like murder, because murder is a waste of a life. It's a waste of his breath. So, let's go into, so realize that your rulership or your dominion is actually to walk in harmony. Thank you, there we go. To walk in harmony with the world. This is why another thing we need you to understand is why we can't have this attitude of forget the other nations. We are supposed to teach the other nations. We are supposed to be the priest, not only of our nation, but the priest of all the other nations.
Healer.
We are to heal the world, not to destroy it. So there's a lot of teachings that we are going to go into this state of rulership, and we're going to make slaves of everybody, and we're going to kill people like they killed us. That's not what Yah wants. Yah wants us to have dominion. He wants to return it back to the state in which it was in the beginning, where we had rulership, but we moved in harmony with life. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yah could destroy us all, but he chose not that we all would die, but that we would live. That's why he sent the Messiah. He could have been through with us. Hallelujah. Okay, let's go. Let's go into Genesis chapter 12. Now we're going into the blood-connected covenant. So we're going to go with the first covenant, which was with Abram. Go ahead, Brother Rod.
Genesis chapter 12, beginning at verse 1. Now Yahuwah had said unto Abram, get you out of your country, and from your kindred, and from your father's house, unto a land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse him that curses you.
Read that again, that one part.
Verse 3, and I will bless them that bless you, and curse him that curses you.
Who's going to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I want to say. Okay.
And in you shall all families of the earth be blessed.
Read that part again too.
Please do.
And in you shall all families of the earth be blessed.
Okay. Keep going.
Keep going.
Yes.
So Abram departed as Yahuwah had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his woman, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered.
That's good. Okay. So, this is the establishment of the covenant between Abram and Yah. He saw something in Abram that allowed him to feel comfortable with being the bloodline connected to his seed. Because through Abraham, who subsequently ended up coming? If it was not through Abram's bloodline, who subsequently came to save the world? The Messiah. So there was something that Yah saw in Abram, wherein he trusted him to be the vessel from which his seed, Yah's seed, would come, the Messiah. Okay? And not only did he prove that Abram was the person, but he tested Abram to make sure. Remember when I told you, for those who may not have been here, we talked about that with every purpose, there's always a trial that goes along with it.
Come.
He's not going to give you a task and not have a trial set for you. Because when you overcome that trial, it puts you in the position of your purpose. Do you have those notes still with the 5 P's in them? I'm going to hit that real quick, and then I'm going to go back to where we are. These 5 P's, hold on. It's all the way down in my notes. Okay. So, you have a purpose, preparation, provision, a problem, and a promise. Okay? So, there's a promise always set. To reach the promise, you always have to have a purpose. So, Yah always gives us a purpose. And in that, he gives us provision. Okay? He also prepares us to go on this journey. To face a problem, which is then going to lead you into your promise. If you pass that trial or that problem, it'll lead you into your promise. Case in point, Messiah had to go to be sacrificed. That was his problem. But he overcame death to then sit at the right hand of the Father as not only our king, but as our high priest under the order of who? Melchizedek. Don't believe the hype that coming into this truth is going to be all dandelions and fuzzy bunnies and doves and people that are going to love on you. No, it's not. There's going to be trials because he needs to know that you are after his image. And I want you to understand, the image of Messiah that you see should be the one of him being on the cross for you. Because this is the road you're going to have to go down. When he told the rich man, he said, if you sell all your stuff, take up your cross, and follow me. That means you're going to have a burden to carry. And it may lead you to your death. But you got to walk with it. And Torah it's not a burden for us, but it's what we carry. Because we do not want to go against the word of Yah. Go ahead.
Starting off with the first part, the purpose. That's what we have to find out. What is our purpose? Too many people in the Ark always say to themselves, he stays in his lane. He don't get into the civil law, right? And by him not getting into the civil law, he's staying in his lane. I don't get into breaking down the word. I mean, even though he knows civil law and I know breaking down the words, we stay out each other's lane. So you have to find your purpose. Too many times people worry about what this one is doing, what that one is doing. If you worry about your purpose, then you can move to be prepared. He can begin to prepare you, right? Then he's going to start making those provisions, the things that you need in order to be prepared for those problems that's going to come. Because you have to have those trials, those tribulations. You got to be affected. You got to be tested. Too many times people don't want to be tested because they too busy worried about what? Somebody else's business. Somebody else's business. So if you worry about your purpose, then you can go through your problem.
Hallelujah.
Then you can receive your promise. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's sad to say that, but some people's purpose is to be destroyed. That's going to be a hard pill to swallow when you think about it. There's too many people don't realize. And men, we always talk about this here. Like he just said, are you willing to die for this? that can be a burden that a lot of people don't want to take. Me and my wife, we talk about this a lot. If you're not willing to die for this, then you haven't even got past the purpose. You can't even go no further if you're not willing to die for this. You might as well erase the other, 4? Because your purpose may be to die for this.
You may have to be a martyr. And there's and the thing that I want you to understand, look, a lot of you ain't gonna take on, a lot of us are not gonna take on the image of Stephen. When they stoning you, you just sit there and don't say a word and allow the Most High to protect you and put you in a sleep. Just let you sleep through your torture. Every disciple,
That's right.
every one of them, every apostle faced death
That's right.
on a daily basis. This walk, see, the benefit of going through your trials and your purpose, being in this bloodline, he only picked the strongest to do it.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I want you to understand this. He only picked the strongest to be in this bloodline. Look at us as a people. We excel in everything.
That's right.
But we believe in nothing. Think about it. We excel. We believe in, hey, when Lil Wayne new CD coming out? We believe in that. Boy, I'm going to show out when that new CD come out. You know what I'm saying? When the next episode of this Power come on. Oh yeah, we believe in stuff that has no merit. We back stuff that has no merit. But when this brother Chauncey goes, I'm starting a company. I'm looking for Hebrews to leave their jobs, go get a trucking license, drive trucks. If you don't want to drive trucks, hey, go get we're going to teach you how to do dispatch. We're going to teach some of y'all how to be brokers. Ain't nobody moved except 2 or 3 people. And this wasn't just a local challenge. This was a nationwide challenge because he said it over the internet. Said it on his Facebook page, on his YouTube channel. He wants to do something great for the kingdom. But with that comes trials. Look, let me tell you, I love Chauncey. I gotta give y'all a lighter note. I love Chauncey. This my man, 100 grand. Chauncey bought this truck. And it was a dually, gorgeous truck. Chauncey finished school, and I think the first or the second load this joker went on.
Yep.
Tore that truck up, and then called me the wrong person to call. If you got a problem and you don't want nobody to laugh at you, don't call me. Because I'm going to laugh first and then give solutions later. Chauncey said, man, because Chauncey from South Louisiana, so he going to get that draw. He said, man, I done tore the whole side of my truck off. I said, what you do? I was backing up, and this dude was supposed to be on the side that I could get hit on, and he wasn't there. He was on the clear side and let me back into this thing, and it ripped the hole in. I said, send me a picture. Chauncey sent me that picture, and there was a gash from dang near the gas tank all the way back to the truck bed. And I'm not going to lie, I giggled. And it wasn't that I was giggling because Chauncey was upset. I was giggling because he said, man, But this brother went through it. And did he allow this to stop him? No. Chauncey got that bed replaced and put a bed on his truck that can't be scratched by nothing. I think it's made out of tank. Because Chauncey knows that, man, look, I'm not going through that no more. So I'm going to replace the bed. I'm going to put this tank bed on it. And He got the pictures on his YouTube channel and on his Instagram. You can see it. That is learning
Yeah.
through the process
Going
of
through it.
being tried.
Yeah, you gotta go through it.
So his purpose in life, and he turned down jobs paying him
More money.
6 figures,
Yeah, all right.
but he wanted to own his own trucking company.
That's right.
And that brother set out on it. You know, I got dogs that I want to raise and breed. But you got to have this faith.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what Abram did. He told Abram, look, pack your stuff and move to a land that I'm going to show you. I ain't even going to tell you where you're going. Just to get out of here. It takes a whole lot of faith to believe the voice inside your head that told you to move. Hallelujah. It was the same voice that 7 years ago I was driving to work at the hospital that told me, hey, look, pack up everything you need to pack up and move from here and move to Dallas. Because there was no way in the world I wanted to leave Austin and move here to Dallas. I hated Dallas with a passion. I made my wife leave Dallas and move to Austin, and she didn't even want to go. But that day that I came to her, I said, baby, I was driving to work, and I was still in the Christian church. God told me to move from Austin to Dallas. She was like, how we gonna move from Austin to Dallas? You ain't got no job. My baby gonna verify this. In a week, was it a week? I had a job. I interviewed and got the job the same day, and for the money that I asked for, and was able to move in with my sister-in-law, and we stayed there for a year, and then we got our own place. That's y'all moving for you. It's not going to be easy, but if you trust him, he'll make sure that you have the provision.
That's right. That's right.
This is all connected to your bloodline.
That's right.
Because if he promised Abraham that he was going to multiply his people, that means, did you hear what he said? I'm going to bless those who bless you.
Right.
Which means he's got blessings out there for you.
Right.
And he's going to curse those who curse you.
To speak volume, what you say, what a lot of people don't realize is in the blessings that the Gentiles are going to have for you, that means he's going to even soften their heart. So when you come against challenges, because there's been many challenges with my company, even leaving my job, like I said, I was, this brother right here worked with me. They wanted me to shave my beard, wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even get promoted. I mean, these are trials you have to face. You know, I have to face HR. My wife will tell you, even teaching brothers and sisters at the job, I had to face HR because I was talking about Bible. I was talking about the Bible. So if you're not willing to walk in this and lose your job and lose your family and friends, you might as well go back to the Christian church or go back to sleep.
You might as well get put. You remember on the movie The Matrix?
Push back.
You might as well be like that dude you know, once you swallow the red pill, there ain't really no turning back unless you just give yourself back to the system. And that's a hard look. And I'm seeing it daily, that people are leaving the truth because of the fact that we have people out here who has distorted the truth and have used it to basically prey on our women.
That's right.
These brothers, man, remember what Paul said, and we went over this earlier today, me and Brother Rod, or Brother Yosef. Everybody that says they're Yahsara'al is not Yahsara'al. And so we go back to Ecclesiasticus, you need to try these yokes. If their acts don't line up with Torah, then you need to move around. Hallelujah. Okay, so let's look at the name Abram. It can be pronounced, okay, so it's all a pronunciation thing too. So we know it's A, and we know that it's Aleph, Bet, Resh, Mem for Abram. it can be pronounced with a B or a V. Okay, the bet can be pronounced B or V. Okay, so it basically breaks down. Now, many of us were taught, and me and Brother Rob went over this earlier, that Abram meant exalted father. Okay? And then after the covenant was sealed, that then Abram's name was converted to Abraham. And all of that different in the spellings. It is spelled Aleph Bet Resh. Okay, Mem is Abram, or Aleph Bet Resh Hey Mem, which is Abraham. Now, we've been taught, especially those in the Christian church, that Abraham means what?
Father of many nations.
Say it loud.
Father of many nations.
That's not what it means. Now, I understand the breakdown that would give you father of many nations, but that's not exactly what it means. Both of them mean the same thing. Abram and Avrim mean the same thing. There's a hay thrown in there for a reason. The hay means to what? To behold something. To look at something. So when he changed his name, he changed it and put the hay in there because he wanted you to know where the starting point was. So both of them mean exalted father or lifted up father. Okay? Both of them do. Now you can break it down and get father of many nations, and I can show you in the breakdown how you could get it using the Hebrew. But I want you to understand in the purest form, when you break it all the way back down, it just means the exalted father. He is the first really recognized with the building of the Hebraic nation. Now, we know that Eber was the first Hebrew, and his descendants all were Hebrews. But with Abraham, there was something special. So there was a splitting. Remember this. All these characters in the Bible had more kids than the ones that, most of these people in the Bible had kids, but there was one or two that were set apart that you had to learn about. And why were they prevalent is because they were in the bloodline. Your bloodline basically establishes your characteristic. A likeness is more of a characteristic. It shows you how something functions. You see what I'm saying? So when you are in the likeness of something, you operate like that. And so we should operate like Yah.
Hallelujah.
And that means to walk in righteousness. The problem is we have been programmed to be wicked. That's what the Western mindset does. It programs you to walk in wickedness because you then say, I don't need nobody. I depend on me. It's a me-centered doctrine. Where in our Western mind, or the Hebraic mind, we depend on who? Yah, for everything. The church says, I trust in God, but they don't show it. There's no action. Why don't you keep the Sabbath? How do you know Saturday is the Sabbath? Why are we going through this argument? We know that it is. These jokers were farmers. They kept a good record of what days were which. I don't have to explain that to you. The laws are done away with. We function under a New Testament. No, you function under a renewed testament in the blood of Hamashiach. This testament was renewed. It's like the lease on your house. The lease on your apartment. Each year, you renew it. Each year, we went through a day of atonement to renew the contract that was established with Abraham. Yeshua's blood basically just renewed it perpetually. If you walk in him, you get that perpetual renewing of your sins, that atonement. That way, you don't have to sacrifice a goat, a lamb, a dove, a bullock, all that. Because our sacrifices don't please Yah anyway. He already told us that. Your sacrifices are no good to me. I don't even like the smell of them no more. You keep on.
Why didn't they please him anymore?
Because we did them just out of routine. We didn't care about the meaning of the sacrifice.
It wasn't that he didn't want sacrifices from that perspective. It was that what we were doing meant nothing.
Right.
Exactly.
And so we did not function the way we were supposed to. We didn't put reverence on that which Yah had prepared us to do.
But Yahweh's children didn't get us there. Our own sins got us there.
There you go.
Correct.
There you go.
So then we open ourselves up to Yahweh's children's mentality.
Yes. See, go
Still
ahead.
doing it.
But see, from a civil perspective, what's happening is our people don't realize that the law, like we all talk about Ra and Tov, function and dysfunction. When we look at the law is supposed to guard us.
Yes.
It's supposed to protect us. When we look at the law, let's take the dietary law for a second. We have amongst any nation, we have the highest obesity rate, the highest sickle cell, blood pressure, diabetes, on and on. If we go cholesterol, if we go back to the dietary law, what happens is that we kill that. So what I'm saying? Within that law. The law was, it protects us. The law was to protect us. You know what I'm saying? When we look at the Sabbath is the renewing of our vows of oath weekly, with the Most High. So that governs that verbiage. It means it's better have a meeting of the mind. So we're meeting with the Most High.
Yes.
We're meeting with the Most High every Shabbat. There's a meeting of the mind because we want to make sure that we're online with this covenant. So when we break the covenant, now we have the sacrificial part of it. So now we're supposed to atone for that. But when we, like you said, when we start doing it willy-nilly or begrudgingly, there's no substance with it. You see what I'm saying? That's like when we look at the judicial system now. There's supposed to be one law, right? Everybody's supposed to be equal to the law. But if you get caught doing a crime and then somebody of another, he'll get caught doing a crime, they get what? They get less of time. See what I'm saying? So we see the diminishing of it. The law ain't never changed, so you're exactly right.
What I've come to understand is we have to be careful when our eyes are open.
That's right.
To put everything we've learned from Christianity, whatever we had before, everything has to go out the door.
Out the door.
And then we need to start all the way
Oh,
again,
exactly.
building the foundation,
Yes.
and get it back on the right track.
That's right.
when
That's
it
right.
goes
That's
out.
right. That's right.
But there's things like the Passover
Yes.
is not about sin.
No.
Okay, Yeshua's sacrifice was not about covering our sins. The Day of Atonement covers our sins. Okay? And when Yah gave that, He gave the commandments of these feasts that we're supposed to keep. He gave us to do that forever.
That's right. That's right.
So just because Yeshua comes does not negate the fact that we need
No.
that's the atonement. Now what He did was, and this is what we have to understand, getting this Christian thinking out of our minds.
That's right.
Okay. What was the Passover's purpose in the beginning? And that purpose was to get them out of slavery. Okay? Now, that's the whole thing now. His blood gets it on our doorposts of our hearts, per se, gets us out of slavery. Okay? It's not about saving us, it's to get us out of slavery. Then we have to then desire to walk according to his word.
Repeat what you just said. Repeat what you just said, the last thing you just said. We desire to do what?
To walk according to his word.
Now, if we desire to do this, there wouldn't be no need for us to do the animal sacrifice.
No. Because
That's why he's renewing the covenant, because he's going to put on our heart. Because what happened was we started, when he gave us the covenant and he gave us the lambs, right? We gave it the animals. It's not even a heart no more. It's ritualistic.
yes.
It become ritualistic.
Religion.
Become
Yes.
religion.
And we're not a people that deal in religion.
No.
So this is where we're going with this. The blood of Hamashiach. Remember this. What did the high priest do with blood? He sprinkled it on the corners of the altars. And he also took the blood of an atonement back behind the holies of holies and sprinkled it on the mercy seat.
That's right.
You understand? And because he sprinkled it on the mercy seat and it was accepted by the Most High, then we were forgiven for the year to come. So him being our high priest and our king, he carries a sacrifice with him, which is his blood.
Hallelujah.
Without his blood, regardless of what Christianity will tell you, without his blood, there is nothing. He can't free us from death, which is slavery. He can't free us from sin, which is transgression of the law, because his blood is recognized by the Father. His blood acts as the covering for us. When he looks at us, Scripture tells us, when Yah looks at us, what does he see? And if he doesn't see his son, then there is there's nothing for you.
That's right.
We are nothing but filthy rags in the eyesight of the Most High Yah.
That's right.
But it is through the blood, the shed blood of our kinsman Redeemer, that him who came through the bloodline, just like we did, that covers us.
Think about when the Ark is talking about the bloodline. The bloodline, when we use it from a Western mindset, we see the abstract part of it. But when you really look at it from a genetic part of it, okay, he had to get somebody from a specific bloodline, from a specific foundation, from a specific lineage to redeem us. Think about it, like our brothers and sisters that don't even believe in the new covenant, or what they call the renewed covenant. If the Most High established a covenant through blood, and through blood is the only way we can have remission of sin, then if he put us in captivity, like you mentioned about slavery, captivity, if we are in our captivity or in our slavery, how can we then get back to the Most High if there's not a shedding of blood?
There has to be.
There has to be.
There has to be.
Because exactly, that's what I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you.
We're agreeing.
We agree with you. You know, so coming into Passover, even all the feast days, really and truly, what we're doing is we're doing a rehearsal.
We're rehearsing for the
We're
marriage.
rehearsing. So when he comes, we're gonna fall right back into what he did with our forefathers. You know what I'm saying? In the first captivity.
Okay. Let me go through this. So, in establishing the bloodline, he established his characteristics through generations.
That's right.
Okay? And so, if we look at our patriarchs, we look at Abram, we look at Isaac, and we look at Yaakov or Yahsara'al, we then see that as they grew in faith
That's right. That's right.
and walked with the Most High, he then established. This is why I always talk about staying in your own lane, because if we look, okay, first things first. Each tribe not only was a part of Jacob, but each tribe had a function.
That's right. I said function.
Okay, each tribe had a functionality.
That's right.
That's why they did not want you to marry outside of your tribe. That's why it was important for the fathers to pick the husbands for their daughters.
That's right.
So that, now I want you to understand this. Now the daughter could reject it,
That's right.
but most parts the daughters had enough faith in their father or believed their father enough that they went along with it. It wasn't about love. We get this
learned to
mixed
love.
up.
They
They learned to love over time.
That's right.
It wasn't like, I love him. No, it's not an emotion.
That's right.
Love means this joker is provided for me.
Provided.
This is provision.
Provision.
This is why that's why I don't trust a woman with her feelings.
That's right.
Because her feelings will lead her down the wrong road.
You better shut up.
Look. If she only depends, look, my wife will tell you, we went to go get our marriage license. My wife wasn't gonna marry me. Was not. My wife wasn't in love with me like that. Dude, man, look. I drove from Shreveport to Dallas every week for dang near 2 years. I drove a car to death. I'm telling you, when I drove this car so much that when I sold the car to get a new car, that the person who bought it had it for a week and it was on the side of the road on fire. I drove that much behind my wife. And my wife told me, she said, James, when we went to go get that marriage license, I didn't have my driver's license. You need your driver's license to get a marriage certificate through these folks. And she said, if I don't find this thing, it is what it is. And that was after we done paid for everything for the wedding. Thank Yah that when she went into her trunk, her driver's license miraculously showed up, or this would be a whole different setting. It would be a whole different cast of characters. I'm not ashamed of that. But this woman I know loves me. Because when I was sick, she ran back and forth taking care of me. You know, bathing me. I'm 300 pounds of man. She bathing me and carrying me to the bathroom and making sure I get up. That's love. You can keep that emotion. If that emotion don't function, I don't want it. I think he loved me. He loved you, but your light's off? I'm serious. If you're a woman and you laying around with a dude and your lights are off and he ain't trying to he don't love you. Women, you had a man that was worth a plum nickel. Even if he did not have it, he would be looking for a way to get it. Not send you out there to go get it. You know, if he doesn't have it, at least he'll try to come with a solution. I've had to ask my father-in-law, hey, look, Dad, I'm short. I need some help, but I'll pay you back. I've had to ask my brothers, hey, man, can you loan me this? And pay them back. But the fact of the matter is, if you got a joker that don't try, he don't love you. He's fouling the heck out of you.
To add to what the brother said, again, when we're all learning, and the Ak always talk about the civil law aspect of Torah. He always talk about that, and what's happening is, we're all learning because again, I've learned things. I've taught this and I've taught this brother, and again, we're learning. Dealing with marriage, because we're not going to beat on. There's the doctrine of sex is marriage. It's not Torah. It's covenant between the Most High. The other aspect, even dealing with the what they call the sanctity of marriage, dealing with the system. The sanctity of marriage was given by Yah, not Caesar Borgia, not the government. You know what I'm saying? A union is supposed to be established between the father and that potential husband, and then they come up and they deal the contract. You know what I'm saying? So again, and I love this by him always speaking and putting his stuff out there because that's what we're doing. We're correcting our mistakes. Because I've even been there. You know what I'm saying? Me and my wife, we deal with the same thing. Because when we do that, these unions are not governed by you. They're governed by the system. And so this is a contract. This book is a contract.
Which supersedes the system.
Which supersedes the system. That's right.
It does.
We, look, no matter where we went into captivity,
That's right.
there was always a group of Hebrews or Israelites that kept Torah.
That's right. That's right.
Think about it. When we went, if you look at the extra books, I'm going back into this. If you look, when we were in Egypt, how did Moses learn who he was? Who he really was? Because he sucked off of his real mother. His real mother was his wet nurse. And not only was she his wet nurse, she then became his nanny. So as the Egyptians was putting foolishness in his head, she was giving him Torah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Like the mother is supposed to do.
That's right. That's right. Come.
Her function as a mother is to what? Teach the children.
That's right. That's right. Remember when we went over there, the trustee? She's the trustee of that lineage.
Right. So she is responsible for teaching that. Now the children belong to the father.
That's right.
She governs over it.
That's right. That's right.
He leaves and he makes provision for it, and she figures out how the provision is divided.
Right.
And then she is supposed to teach the next generation along with the father.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay? When the father away, the mama teaches.
That's right.
And boy, my mama used to teach some serious lessons. Hand to head lessons.
Sign language.
Some serious sign language. You know what I was thinking. I don't even like you. I don't know what you were thinking, you know. Shoe come flying across the room. What was that for? I know what you was thinking. Don't you roll your eyes. We have to get back in that likeness.
Right.
And that starts with accepting who you are.
That's right.
Look, the slavery aspect of our life is something that has existed from dang near the conception of Yahsara'al.
That's right.
Okay? So, look, it's time to get off. Okay, one thing that these Westerners say that used to run me hot, it wasn't my ancestors that did it. Y'all need to get over it. Okay, I'm going to say this as a Hebrew. There are certain aspects in our walk or in our lineage that we do need to get over. Look, we're slaves because of our disobedience.
Hallelujah.
That's right.
Okay? We became slaves and held in captivity. If you look through scripture, 7 captivities because of our disobedience to the Most High. Okay, that's on us. Like I keep saying, you don't get mad at the belt.
That's right.
Why you mad at the belt? The belt ain't whooping you. It's the instrument. Yah is whooping us. He just using other nations as belts. And each belt has gotten worse and worse and worse. When we go back to the captivities, we realize that there were either a prophet established to keep us with Torah.
Right. Right.
Now, even when Nehemiah came out and started rebuilding, Nehemiah didn't know all of the law, but Nehemiah knew enough to keep the Shabbat and to shut them down. Like I said, my favorite scripture. Come around here one more again, sell it on the Shabbat, and I'm going to put these paws on. You know, straight up. I'm putting it in layman terms. Y'all know these folks was black just from some of the sayings. I'm gonna put these hands on you.
That's right.
Hands on you, that's right.
That's the script.
That's script. Come around here one more game selling. I'm gonna put my hands on you. That man, if that don't sound like Big Mama and them, Paw, you know, don't make me put my hands on you, boy. Look, that is our culture. It even sounds better coming out of our mouths. With that, what was that scripture we read last week? Even keep my words out your mouth.
Yeah, those Psalms,
Was it
49?
Was it 29 or 147?
No, those Psalms, I think it was Psalms,
147, 19, something like that. Some.
no, it was Psalms, I think it was Psalm 49 or Psalm 50.
Was it Psalms 50?
Yeah, it was Psalm, I think it was Psalm 50. Those Psalms, yeah, Psalm 50. Yeah, Psalm 50 in verse 16. But unto the wicked, Yah says, what hast thou to do to declare thy statutes, or what have thy covenant in thy mouth?
Yeah.
He's telling you, don't you put my words, don't you put words in your mouth.
So look at it. We are learning from the heathen
That's right.
how to keep a book that wasn't even written by them and wasn't even written for them.
That's right, that's right.
Do you understand what this book was written for? It was to keep all of us in check
That's right.
and then show us how to walk with the other nations, to be a representation of the Most High, so that we can be a beacon of light to them.
That's right, that's right. That's right, that's right.
Do you realize that the so-called African American actually shapes everything in this country?
That's right, that's right.
We shape it,
In our wickedness.
not knowing, in our ignorance. Look, culturally, United States, they dress like us. We take everything they make and we make it funky.
That's right.
Am I lying? We
That's right.
we can take stuff out of Walmart and make it look good.
We have one more domain we have to conquer though.
What's that?
Hockey, ice hockey.
Well, we had
We had that.
we had that.
No, that's where it came from. Ice hockey came from us.
Breaking in there.
Ice hockey came from us.
No, what we need to learn how to conquer, the one thing we really need how to conquer is platform diving in them X Games sports. Because brothers don't do too many of them X Games sports. You ain't gonna see no brother on no three-wheeler jumping over no cars. That's just not us. Because we believe in thy shall thou tempt the Lord thy God. I'm not tempting you with that.
But if we're influencing nations outside of Torah, just imagine what happens when we go into Torah.
When we
That's
claim,
the thing that people don't
Woo!
get.
when we claim the bloodline, look at that's what they fear the most.
That's right.
Them WPs, that's what they fear the most. That we recognize who we are and function in it. Because if we, look, it's one thing to know who you are, but if you, and not to function in it, but when you stand and function in it, that's why they're afraid of us.
That's right.
And the sad part is, we ain't here to hurt you.
And everything that we have created, they have regurgitated and then they profaned it.
Yes.
Everything.
Look, man, I'm going to tell y'all, if you don't recognize the power in your veins, Henrietta Lacks died in the mid-50s.
Yes.
In the mid-50s.
Yes.
Do you know that she is still here
Yes.
to this day?
Yes.
that her cells
That's right.
are the cells that are regenerating since her death?
Well, no, repeat that again, though, so because I want people to understand the magnitude of what was going to go ahead.
Henrietta Lacks's cells, she died, and her cells are still reproducing themselves. Do you know that every medicine that you have received in your lifetime is because of her?
Not only that, I want y'all to think about this. If this lady died in the 50s and her cells are still regenerating, do you know the word of the Most High is telling you, you have conquered death. This what goes over our people's head. If you come back to your law, statutes, and commandment, come back to your diet, they know this. You will live 1,000 years. You live 800 years. You have to come back to your book. Your book is to protect you. Like you're supposed to guard the law guards you. It's give and take. That's civil law. It's give and take, something from something. Quid pro quo. It's law. You can't change it.
In Deuteronomy 4,
Go ahead, brother.
the word tells us how the nations envy us because of our law. They know if we follow this law, we walk in this
That's
law,
right.
they know what we
Read
would
that,
be
read that.
as a nation.
Deuteronomy
That's
4.
Deuteronomy 4, 5 through 7.
Go ahead.
Well, next 5 through 8.
What is it?
Deuteronomy 4.
5 through 8. Every nation out there already knows this. At least the 1% that are in charge.
Well, the funny thing is, I want you to think about something. They don't know why they don't like us. There's a lot of people in here that don't like us, and they don't know why they don't like us. All you have to do is, my granddaddy didn't like them, so I don't like them.
See that DNA.
Thank you. After time, it is something that comes embedded. Go ahead.
What that is?
Deuteronomy 4,
Chapter 4.
chapter 4, 5 through 8. And that tells you exactly what they think about us if we start following our laws,
Yes.
keeping our statutes and commandments.
Go ahead and read it.
But I mean, some of them know.
Chapter 4, verse 5 through 8.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5 through 8. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahuwah, my Elohim, commanded me that you should do so in the land, whether you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom
What?
and your
And
understanding
in your understanding.
in the sight of the nations,
There you go.
which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this
This is
great
the
nation
nation, the
is
great
a wise and
right.
understanding nation.
That's right.
For what nation is there so great, who had Elohim so nigh unto them, as the Elohim as Yah Elohim is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
Do you realize that is why they have pulled us away from reading the Old
They
Testament?
don't want you to know.
They don't want you to know this.
Because you will find out who you
That's
are.
right.
What is so great about this nation, that everything they ask for, their Elohim provides for them.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Now, do you understand why the Ashkenazim took on our mantra?
That's right.
That's right.
Look, because this falls on those who follow his laws.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So let me take on your mantra. Go ahead.
But what comes with that is the curses and the blessings. Can we say that when they took on our, then they took on those,
Yes.
that curse, what happened to them along the way? They're like, oh, this comes along with it.
That's all part of the deception of the wicked one. To have them have the appearance of suffering. Okay? So again, that's something that's gonna confuse people who look at them. All right.
Go finish.
But if you read the scripture, you can see that nothing concerning that people lines up with scripture.
That's
They
it.
broke, the covenant people broke the covenant.
This-
Deuteronomy 28 tells us what's going to happen to those people. Ashkenaz got too much wealth,
Yeah.
too much influence in the world.
Yes.
But they try,
No,
like
no,
you said, they try to claim that segment of what happened to them as.
Oh, I know, that's what I'm saying, but that's all part of the
But,
deception.
but this is what everybody miss. The law's not a respect of person. They are getting wealth by following certain aspects of Torah.
That's why when we
That's
came out
number
of
one.
Christianity, we ran to the synagogue.
That's right. That's number one. Exactly.
Because, they're keeping this
And
law.
it's for the curses. They are fulfilling the curses too. Because if you understand the prophecies of Yeshua HaMashiach in the fig tree, there's a fig tree that's going to be a land for 70 years that ain't going to produce no fruit. A strange fruit in the land. And they've been in there 70 years, which is a generation. So they're fulfilling it. They know this. The problem is we don't understand the parables.
Scripture clearly says one thing. When Yahsara'al returns home,
Right?
that we're going to take our swords and beat them into shears plows. Which means there is not going to be any more war. This is another reason why they don't want you to read the Old Testament. Because the Ashkenazim who are right now squatting in our land, there is still war going on. They have not had a peaceful time since they've been there. Because the other nations around them know that a black nation left that place and ain't no way they were recycled.
Exactly. But the sad thing about it is, think about when when forefather Noah came off, they come off the ark, and he began to deal with his sons, and his sons were dealing with Canaan, and Canaan got into the land. If you understand the African culture and African customs, the grandfather can take on, he can become the father, the progenitor of a grandchild. So this is why you understand why when the children of Israel went to Canaan, they went to land, and the Canaanites was in there. This is why Canaan had got the curse, because a certain bloodline can only get the curses and the blessings. So the Ashkenazi Jews are actually fulfilling prophecies in the land, because we got to do them like we did the Canaanites. We're going to come get them out of the land. The book has been fulfilled in front of our face, but we have to understand the prophetic nature, dealing with the not only the culture, but we have to understand the prophetic nature of the parables. Everything's got to repeat itself over and over again. We're doing the same thing our forefathers did. The same thing.
What did Hamashiach say? Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It was written in me. Everything that he is this book.
Yeah.
And so if you take away half of him, over half of him, where's the functionality in that?
Yeah.
We have to walk in the function. If we walk in our function, we then activate that thing in our bloodline.
That's right.
We are trying to go back to the image and the likeness of Yah.
And hold on. That's established through a bloodline, right?
Yes.
Now, this is what people don't get. If we keep going by the mindset that there's no Hamashiach, this is the problem with our people don't get. This is what our people don't get. The order of Aaron had an expiration date. Let me repeat that again. The order of Aaron had an expiration date. The priesthood through Aaron and Moses had an expiration date. So now, in order to get that redemption and get your sacrifice seen or heard, it had to be through a priest. So where's your priest at? Where's your sacrifice at? Where's your temple at? You don't have one. So that's why it had to be refreshed through Yeshua HaMashiach, through the order of Melchizedek. That's which fulfilled the prophecy that all the brothers can become priests. Because the order of Aaron is gone. Where's the priest at?
Think about it. The disciples, the followers, the apostles, what tribes were they from?
Well, you talking about the disciples?
Yeah.
What? Well, actually, They're all from 12, all 12.
They're from
All
all
12.
12.
All 12, yeah.
All
All 12, they're all from all 12.
Yes, all 12.
All 12, exactly,
Because the Levi
exactly.
followed the instruction
And
of Moses,
there you go.
and how Levi
But-
was chosen to be the priest.
But this is why when Yeshua HaMashiach, this is why when he was being, this is why when he had him to baptize him and wash his feet and all that, he changed his garments and he told his apostles, he says that he had to baptize, he had to wash their feet, and they were like, no. He said, well, if you don't do this, what? You can't be a part of my kingdom. You can't, because he was initiating them into the priesthood because they came from all 12 tribes. It's opening up in your head. Yeah. See? So when these people throw away Yeshua HaMashiach, what they're doing is they're killing that prophetic nature of the Melchizedek priesthood, the order. Okay, yeah, we're talking.
When we accept the fact that our bloodline is connected to this covenant,
Yeah.
we then can operate in the fullness of Yah's likeness. To operate that way, it unlocks the power of our people. Why do you think J. Edgar Hoover, when he did COINTELPRO, the one thing that he was fearful of, he said that we need to kill any so-called black Messiah.
Right.
Any one man who could galvanize the people to walk according or to follow, because most of them wasn't following no law, statutes, and commandments. Martin Luther King himself said that I feared that I made a mistake, that I led my people into a burning building.
He did.
Which he did. Segregation, once again, was the worst thing for us. We were never a people who segregated. Separate but equal in this country is a myth. There is no equality because we are not citizens of this country. We are not. If you look at the 12th, if you look at the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, they will clearly tell you that you are still, how do they say it? You're still property. Basically, you are still property. And this is why when you take a birth certificate, social security card, you give yourself back to this country, which then puts you back in bondage.
In jurisdictions, right.
That is why as Israelites or Hebrews, we have to understand, I have no bias with this country.
No, that's right. That's right.
I'm not mad at this country.
They're doing their job.
They are doing exactly what they told them to do. But what I am here to do, and what these brothers have dedicated our lives to do, is to inform the people that there are other ways. And the clear other way is to understand this book. Take it back.
What people miss about this book? This book, and I say this many times, this book is a covenant and a contract to separate you from the other gods. Let's use the layman term, the other gods. So this is why they take the book and we've heard the term state and church are separate. But here it is, they go swear they're judges, they're lawyers, they're governors, they're all these officials own the records. But if you come back to this book separates you. Are you not supposed to be separate from all these other entities?
Be ye separate.
Be separate. You're self-governing. That's what this is. This book helps you to be self-governing. If you're judging yourself or you're self-governing, you have to worry about being part of the system and being part of the things that they deem as righteous. Because this is the book that deems things that's right and wrong. But we're looking for a Caesar Borgia. We're looking for a Caesar in the government to jurisdict us instead of the Most High. This governs us.
we depend on the government for everything. I'm not saying that listen, this is what I'm telling y'all, is that we need to depend on our source.
Right.
Who is our source?
Huh?
The Most High. Depend on your source. Don't depend on, he will use them to bless you.
That's right. That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That's why I ain't trying to leave the country. I depend on y'all.
That's right.
And I depend that he is going to open up their coffers and bless me out of it.
They doing it already.
Yes. Well, yeah. But, all right. What we have to understand is this land is not ours. We are still captive until Messiah comes. But we should take pride in establishing our own businesses. Look, I don't mean pride. We should try to take over and establish our own businesses. Think about this. Brother James, I hate to ask you this because, I understand that you got a lot of gray hair. But can you tell me how old you are?
I'm 70. I'll soon be 71.
Okay, so you're around the age of my parents, which means you were born in 47?
Yeah.
49. Okay. When you were a kid, was there a black man that owned the store?
No.
You didn't have a neighborhood store that you could go to that was owned by a black man? Okay. When you were growing, where did you grow up? Mississippi. Oh yeah.
Well, that's different.
Everybody took
I'm nowhere near 70. But in the community where I grew up, we had a grocery store. We had a grocery store. Even though at that time we had the schools were desegregated. When we had to go get groceries, we had actually a woman, a so-called black woman, so-called African American woman that owned a grocery store. So we didn't have to go to Winn-Dixie. There was a period of time that I can remember as a young boy that we didn't even have to leave our neighborhood.
Repeat that again.
We did not have to leave. The only thing we left our neighborhood for that period of time was go to school. And we'd come back home. And we had a community. And that community, on every street, there was a relative or somebody on that street or some individual on that street that could keep you in check.
That's right.
We didn't have daycare centers.
That's right.
It was either a grandmother or auntie that would that would take care of you while mama, in my case, while mom was at work. But we had that community where people owned homes, they owned businesses.
Right. Hallelujah.
And it was a tight-knit community.
Repeat that word community though, because I want you to understand community, because see that's what a lot of people missing. Go ahead.
It was a tight-knit community.
It wasn't a neighborhood.
It wasn't. That's right. It wasn't
not
a neighborhood.
It's
It was
a community. And there's
Big
a difference. Look, the difference between neighborhood and community. First of all, in a community, the Jewish community, the Chinese, the Asian community, the Arab community, their money circulates
And there you go.
in their community.
There you go. There you go.
In the Jewish community, it circulates anywhere between 15
That's right.
to 18 times
That's
before
right.
it ever leaves.
the community. That's right.
But us, as a people, as soon as we get
Get it.
paid,
It goes
out.
That's right. Like.
Relate to Brother Ross, that it's only been like maybe 20 or 30 years back. The community that I grew up in, there was only a certain
you go.
We had our own hotel. We had our own, went to our own schools there because we wasn't integrated.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
So everything in that area, we didn't have to go out, we had our own grocery store.
Yes.
We had our own, restaurants. But, during the seventies, when they started bringing in, and when I say they, that community was a flourishing community.
That's right,
We
that's
didn't
right.
have to go outside
Exactly,
to get
exactly.
anything that we needed. Except for, we didn't have a hospital,
That's right.
but we had everything else. But after a while, our money was coming back to the neighborhood, then, long story short, they started infiltrating drugs into the.
There you go,
And
exactly,
then
exactly.
when the drugs came there, the neighborhood dried up. You go to the neighborhood today, only thing that's standing there is the hotel, because they made that a historical landmark, so they can't take that down.
So we had a theater, a movie theater now in the neighborhood.
I want y'all to understand this. When you deal in community, you deal in self-preservation.
That's right.
You tend to build on the legacy. You bet on yourself.
That's right.
When you deal in community, when you live in neighborhoods, you depend on what?
Outside.
Outside. Look, what they did in the black community or our ghettos was slowly but surely they started giving grants to these other people, and they moved in and set up shops in our communities to take our revenue, because what they needed was our dollar. To this day, they don't really need your vote. Oh, Obama won because of the black vote. No, he didn't. We only make up 17% of the population. It wasn't because of us that he won the election. He won the election because they wanted him there. Okay?
What they do is they gentrification. That's how they get it. They start bringing businesses in there, and they start moving our people out.
When they brought in all these other people, the Korean War, we had an influx of Koreans coming to the United States. In the Vietnam War, we had an influx of Vietnamese coming to and the government made grants with them, gave them grants, made covenants with them, gave them funds, tax-free loans. We've been in the country, we built the country, and we can't get a tax-free nothing. We get earned income tax, they took that. Do you understand that until we function as a community, which means we need to put leaders in place that have sense, that believe in this book?
Let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
What does LeBron James, Michael Jordan, on and on and on and on, these $15-20 million a year, what responsibility do they bear in restoring that situation?
They can't. They can't. There is no way. The Bible says, woe, I think it's Jeremiah 17. It says, woe to the man who puts his trust in man, that makes flesh his strength, for he should be like a bush that has no water. The situation is this. We got to go through this. Let me just get y'all into this understanding. You got to go through this. It is your time.
That's right.
It is your period of preparation. You are in the period of your problem. You got to go through this to get to the promise. What is the promise? That we will be in the land. And so looking for somebody who ain't even walking in y'all to restore us is I know.
Jeremiah 17:5.
Go ahead and read it.
Thus said Yahuwah, Yah, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from Yah. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabited. Blessed is the man that trusted in Yah,
That's right.
and whose hope
His what?
and whose hope
Yes.
is in Yah. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought,
And make no
neither shall cease from yielding fruit.
That is it in a nutshell. I'm not depending on none of these Negroes to support me. Negroes. I'm not leaning on any of them.
and this is the water. This is what we're thirsting for. Michael Jordan don't have this.
No, he got
Oprah don't
some-
have this.
No.
All these people don't have that. So that's the found. That's number one. We can't even deal with them because they're not getting the water.
They already dried up.
They're already dried up.
They have made riches their God. So they really following Mammon.
Oh, absolutely.
They are not even, so I don't want any of them to help me. What I want to do is to trust in His word and act in it. So what we need to do, and us as a body, I don't know how many of y'all gonna come in after this or stay after this, but we as a body need to function in Yah. And we need to think about community.
Right.
We don't need to worry about what's going on the outside. I was telling one of the sisters today, I want to go to Pesach and be out there with Yosh and them, and I would love for the whole congregation to be able to do that. But evidently, we know that everybody ain't gonna be able to afford to go like that. And so the thing was said, well, why don't you go to Sukkot? And I looked at her and I said, baby, the reason why I will not go to Sukkot is because if it all cooked off, I don't need to know how to survive in California. I need to know how to survive here in Dallas. So I need to have some coat where my trouble's gonna be. I need to have some coat. I need to learn how to watch out for these rattlesnakes and these coyotes and all these things that are around here. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't need to worry about what's going on in California.
Repeat that again. What you just said about Sukkot, though. You need to prepare before what?
What's going on here?
That's why it's very imperative because there's a lot of organizations they want that when they do Sukkot, they all in these fancy buildings.
Yeah.
You need to be coming out here. You need to be in these boots. You need to be laying in the wilderness. You need to be in these tents. You know, I ain't trying to step on nobody's feet. All that look beautiful, but it ain't gonna be beautiful when it happens. You gotta rough it.
That's why I'm telling y'all. We need to rethink. I got bifocals. I don't even know which eye to look through. And I don't want to hear nothing. I feel like Red Fox on Harlem Nights. Okay, so we about 15 minutes out. I'm gonna close, but we're gonna keep this conversation going. I want to close for the radio and the YouTube purposes, but we're gonna keep the conversation going.
Conversations, right.
But because we're gonna have potluck. But this is what I want you to understand. We need to, if you are with us, you're gonna be with us. And you gotta be with us until the wheels fall off. We got a plan. Yah has laid out a plan for us. We are functioning, we want to function in communities.
That's right.
Which means we want to empower our people to that our money functions the way it's supposed to.
That's right.
We want to function, we want people that want businesses. We've got for a congregation this small, we got 2 entrepreneurs and maybe more. Three. We got 3 in this group already that can tell you how to build a business and tell you how to function as an entrepreneur. We got a wealth of knowledge. All we got to do is to put it into motion. We could have our own community. We can have homes
That's right, that's right.
where we determine what businesses come in. Do you understand how powerful that is?
That's right.
Look, I'm gonna show you exactly how the government worked, and then I'm gonna close in 5 minutes. So I got a 5-minute rant, and then I'm gonna close. Why do you think? Okay, so I'm gonna start with the story. Me and my wife moved to Giddings. Giddings, Texas is in between Houston and Austin. Okay, in Giddings, Texas, there is a store called Brookshire's Brothers. Okay, Brookshire's Brothers has been there ever since Dog was a pup. But then there was another store there, H&B. Oh yeah, B&W. B&W was locally owned. Their Chamber of Congress said that we do not want any big chain stores coming in to Giddings because we want our people to have an opportunity to grow in business. Now H&B is now closed, but B&W is now closed. Oh, well, I ain't been there in a while. But understand this. They preserved it. They stopped Super Walmart from rolling in. So you got to ride all the way out to Brenham, Elgin, or what's that other, Bastrop, to go to Super Walmart. We need that kind of power, y'all. It's a matter of what. So when we, and this is why I'm stopping. I don't want to vote no more because I finally realized something. All I'm doing is voting on the best master. No, none of them really have your interest at heart. Go ahead, sister.
I'm sorry. With all due respect, sometimes our own people, whether they're awake or asleep, we are so rude, so unprofessional with each other. You rather go in this direction, spend your dollars, than to go to your own people. You walk in there, hi, how you doing? You already got an attitude. Right? Why? I'm just trying to, bring our dollars back to us. You want to charge us way over the top for something. It's always like you got to get over on each other. Why do we keep treating each other like that? How are we going to come together? We don't respect each other.
First thing to answer that question is that most of the people that you deal with those attitudes ain't in the book no way.
I was about to say that.
And so when you establish something of your own, if you walk in honor, you ain't gonna try to beat the next man. You know how much it costs to make that product, and you know how much it is to have a reputable living, a comfortable living, or to do better to be able to set up something for your children without raping your own people. You understand what I'm
Repeat
saying?
that one more time.
You know how much it costs. Look, I'm gonna tell you something. Do you think the Ashkenazim charge each other the same rate they charge us? No. Do you think that the Koreans, no, they don't. And I see those posts on Facebook. You don't ask the other folks for a discount. That's a lie. I be looking for coupons. Coupons are a discount. If you want to do business, but we have to establish those businesses. And what I'm saying is, when you build a community for yourself, you get to rule. You get to see how it functions. You don't let people in the community that don't help the community.
The sad thing about what everybody don't realize about this fiat currency, and I used to teach this a while back. Me and the brother, we talked about, because there's this idea that there is no money. There is no money. Once you really realize what that term means, you're going to get a greater understanding why you should be taking this money and just building your community and not worrying about being rich per se, right? Because your richness comes from the covenant. It don't come from the fiat currency. That's where you're rich at. You're rich in this promise, in this covenant. The fiat currency should be an instrument that you use to build it until you get that promise. That's all. I've lost more money helping people than I've ever made. I'll repeat that again. I've lost more money helping my own people than I ever made. But I don't get my blessing from my people, I get my blessing from Yah. So when those people are charging you extra, if you're doing it to help their business and you're doing it in the name of Yah, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Because you're trying to get the blessing from the Most High. And see, that's the thing about us, our people. Tell you what, show you how these people use everything out of our records. Read it for me, Brother Rod.
Deuteronomy chapter 15. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called Yah's release. Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release.
Okay, that's good enough. What the foreigner is doing, he's charging us taxes. We shouldn't be charging like Doc said, like Ashkenazi do. They don't charge each other this exorbitant amount of taxes. This is why the money stays in the community 15, 16, 17, 18 times. And they build a community. You know what I'm saying? Now, what they do is they charge us taxes, and we think they're getting over on us, but they getting it out of the book. They getting it out of our records.
To offset what they're doing for their
Exactly.
own people.
So we're building them. All we have to do is go back to our own law. If we build our community, they want to do business with us, what we do?
Tax them.
We tax them. We charge interest.
And then the release comes to those who are inside of our borders.
There you go.
So our people, you borrow $50,000 from me, you have to pay back that $50,000 in 7 years.
Exactly.
That is not paid off,
Yeah,
we release it.
that's right. There you go. You balance the books. This is what the government do every year with taxes. People don't realize the government is balancing the books.
And that's your money. You're not getting it. That's a refund.
Yeah.
You just loan the government that money all year
Exactly.
long.
So he giving you
It's free.
exactly.
And if you get that money, you say, oh man, look what I got. That's your money.
That's your money.
They just give it back.
They
to
just
you.
giving you back yours. That's right. That's right.
And that's how we need to learn how to function according to the words of the Most High. All right, I'm about to close in prayer. I want to tell you once again, if you want to be a blessing to this ministry, you can support us on PayPal, and you can also support us on Cash App. Monica posted in the comments, and also if you want to advertise with us, I am going to make that possible. We'll figure out a way to do it, but I want to give Hebrew businesses a chance to have advertisement not only on my Facebook page, but my YouTube channel, as well as Malak's YouTube channel, so that we can start supporting our own businesses. We want to get the word out that our people are doing things,
Right.
and we need to have alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, start buying your clothes from your people.
That's right.
I mean, we want to help our people out. All right? So as we bow our heads, Father Yah, we want to thank you for another Shabbat Day class. We give you honor and praise. We thank you for opening up our eyes to the bloodline, to let us know exactly what we must do to operate and function in your likeness. Yah, we want to give you praise, and we want to thank you for your son, Yeshua HaMashiach, who was our perpetuation, who is our sacrificial lamb, and our king and our chief high priest. Father Yah, we want to also tell you that we thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for every breath that you have allowed us to take in each day. But we really want to thank you for this Shabbat, for you caring enough about us to give us a day to rest and to commune with you, so that we may be rejuvenated and built up strong, and that we take this word that we have been given, we eat it and place it on our hearts. And not only do we hear this word, but we are doers of the word, that we shema, that we function in obedience, because it is you who made us and not we ourselves. So Father Yah, as we close this day and we end this Shabbat class, we want to ask you to bless everybody that is looking at us on the internet, those who will be listening to us on radio, and those who are in this congregation. We want to thank you for the influx of people, and Yah, we ask that we grow, we continue to grow. Not that we may be put on a pedestal, but that your word may be heard by more people each and every day, and that we teach what you told us so that they can function properly. Ya Elohim, we ask that you would just bring peace to those people who are wrestling with the truth and those who are exiting the truth. We pray that they would find a place to be rejuvenated and that their hurts be healed. And Yah, we ask that those people who are new to this truth, that they find a place that their eyes can be opened even further, and that they will understand the nature of your love for us. For you are a provider and you are a friend. So Yah, as we close, we just want to thank you once again, and we just want to say, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Boy, you trying to get me in trouble, Charles. You know